system throughout the United States. Today's topic is a brief introduction overview of the Prognocis EMR system. More in-depth overviews are available. To begin the demonstration, I'm going to log in as myself. I'll put in my user ID and my credentials. Once I log in, it takes me right to my home page. And my home page is a bird's eye view of everything going on within my practice. For example, you can see that I'm a physician, and as a physician I can see what my client load is today. Based on my client load, I can see whose patient documentation is in order, what patients have arrived, what patients are scheduled to arrive. I can see the reason for their visit. Have they been submitted into a room? Are they with a doctor? Are they with a one of my assistants getting their vitals taken? Whatever the case may be, I can see it all on this one screen. Additionally, there are some filters available. So if I work with multiple providers, I can see their schedules as well as locations. If I have a satellite office or if I work in more than one location, this will facilitate a multi-location practice and a multi-provider practice, as well as a single physician practice. On the top left here is my inbox, and what my inbox is telling me is it's basically divided into 4 areas. The system messages, these are messages that were generated by the system, by Prognocis, and then also information that's coming back from other EMR systems through an HL7 interface. So for example, I may request some radiology with a lab that I work with. That request goes out electronically from Prognocis, from my patient medical record, to the lab. The lab performs the radiology, the patient is seen, the results are logged, and sent back into Prognocis EMR, all automatic. And then I can drill down into my system messages and review those lab results, contact my patient. Those flow right into the patient's electronic medical records seamlessly. The user area of the inbox is designed for internal messaging, and these might be messages to my clinical staff or from my clinical staff to me. These might also come from the patient portal. I have patients that can get online through the patient portal in Prognosis and request prescription refills. They might send me questions, comments. All of that information will show up in the user area of my inbox. Telephone calls, that's pretty self-explanatory, but Prognosis has a way of digitizing telephone messages and then passing those through electronically into my inbox as well. And then I have my to-do list, follow-ups, to-dos, and appointments. So that's the home page of a physician in a nutshell. If we go into the scheduling page, this is typically what my receptionist sees in the front of the office. This is basically the same information, but it's presented in a different way. And this allows a receptionist to quickly add new appointments by simply clicking at the desired date and time that the patient is to arrive, selecting the type of visit for my patient, putting in the reason for the visit, and then if this is a new patient, starting the workflow process of adding a new patient's demographics. So it's very simple, very easy to use interface, very straightforward. When I click on a patient, down at the bottom left, I can drill down into the patient's demographics. I can validate and input the insurance information, as well as collect co-payments on their checkout, and then actually check them into a room. In this case here, this patient's already in with my assistant and is now ready for the doctor. And I can go ahead and update that. Any changes that I make will be instantly seen real time on the physician's home screen. Also, the system does a very good job of alerting me of any information that violates my business practices. For example, this patient doesn't have any medical records information entered into the system. So in this case, this is one where my receptionist up front would drill down and then enter the respectable insurance information. Prognosis will also validate that insurance information for me to make sure that it is valid. If we go back to the home page, we will now see the change that we made, and that the patient has arrived early and is now with the doctor. In this case here, this patient's waiting for the doctor. So very straightforward, very simple, yet very powerful. To enter into an encounter with my patient, I simply click. So if I'm walking down the hall, I've got my tablet PC with me, all I have to do is click on the patient I'm going to see. I see what room they're in, and I'm instantly presented with their face sheet. Their face sheet is a summary of their electronic medical record. The items in red are things that I've marked as being relevant to my current patient's condition. So instantly I can see exactly the things that I need to focus on. I can also walk my patient through checklists saying, do you still have, have you gotten any new vaccinations? Is there anything new in the family history? Again, with the ability to drill down and to add certain things into the family history. So for example, something new might have come up. There might be some arthritis, and this arthritis might be for my patient's mother. So I can go ahead and select that. Now this box over here, relevant, if I check this box, I can make this relevant to my patient's medical record, and that shows then that his mother, now who's been diagnosed with arthritis, is something that I need to be aware of when I see my patient, and it shows up in red. So Prognosis does a great job of simplifying the electronic medical record, giving you a single view. The rest of the items on the left-hand column will walk me through an encounter based on my practice's workflow. This is completely tailorable, and during an implementation we completely tailor it based on your workflow. Now, in my case, I go ahead and I get the documentation. I collect patient forms and get the all of the insurance information all done through my document list. My medical assistant then checks my patient into the room where they capture the vitals. After the vitals, we get a history of present illness, a review of systems. We then go through a physical. And in the physical, I do different types of tests, as well as the ability to capture information on a diagram. And there are any number of different diagrams available for the physician. So for example, on the body diagram, I might notice the patient might tell me that there is pain up in the upper right quadrant, and there might be pain in the lower left quadrant. I can then put in my comments and add that information appropriately. That information then becomes part of the progress notes tied to this patient's encounter. I can do things like place lab orders, manage my patient's assessment, e-prescribe, fax or non-e-prescribe prescriptions to my patient. I can order radiology tests and other types of tests. I can view my lab results for my patient. I can print out educational information for my patient. And Prognosis is tied into a data bank of medical information, and it has every type of medical information that you could imagine, and it's something that you don't have to maintain. It's maintained for you. I can do my E&M coding. One of the nice things about Prognosis is that it will recommend my E&M coding at the highest billing level. It will also suggest certain changes in my encounter that will allow me to get to a higher coding level. So not only does it provide all of the audit controls to back up my level of billing, it'll also suggest the highest billing rate for me. Very nice way to improve my revenue through the E&M coding. And then I've got some other buttons here that'll take me to various patient forms, pictures and images that I've saved of the patient, before and after pictures, my progress notes. Again, everything that I do in my encounter is automatically collaborated in my progress notes. And then I finally close the encounter and I complete my visit with my patient. So this is just a high-level overview of Prognosis. There's a lot more